We are talking House of Cards and so much more right after this. Netflix Picks starts right now.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
So we're playing this song so that we can see how long we have to wait until it's socially acceptable to start playing Christmas music. What do you think of that?
Right now, it's right now.
No,
November
right now.
1st.
No, it is not. I do not believe so.
They are
And
building a tree in Burbank as we speak.
The
It is red.
Grove is Christmased out. The holiday cups have landed. It is time. Embrace it right now.
It is Red Cup season.
You know what time it is? It's time for Netflix Picks. Hi, guys. But yes, this will all tie in together later on in the show. But you are watching Netflix Picks, where we talk about what you should be watching and what you should not be watching. I am one of your hosts, Amy Cassandra Martinez, and I'm joined by two fantastic people here tonight. Steve Kaufman, hello.
I am here. I have a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
You really do.
I really do.
I'm really excited. And of course, Ashley Cheney, we missed you so much.
I missed you guys so much. I'm so glad to be back. And hi to everybody that's in the chat and watching and listening on the podcast. Hi, it's really good to be back.
Rick Hong threw so much shade that it bounced back, and then he fell off his ship.
He heard
That
I was
is
going to be
great.
here, and he was like, I'm out.
I was like, peace, no thank you. So, let's just jump right into it. Okay,
Yes.
so Netflix originals. We have to talk about House of Cards. Everyone and their mother is talking about House of Cards. So I did do a little bit of digging with some House of Cards fans, like
hear it.
intense fans. So a lot of people are liking Robin Wright, having this really cool energy and breaking the fourth wall, and how she does that, how it's different, than Kevin Spacey. But also some people are just kind of missing Kevin Spacey. I think you have both sides of the spectrum. CNN also tweeted, do you approve or disapprove of the way Claire Underwood is handling her job as president? It was kind of even. But I like that CNN got involved. What do you guys think?
I would like to know why CNN is getting involved. But
Why not?
Well, this show.
I don't know.
Well, this show always dealt in a certain amount of political intrigue, and because it dealt in a certain amount of political intrigue, places like CNN and MSNBC would stage footage for them, or at the very least, like lend them a chyron, or like probably send a low-level producer to kind of produce the on-screen stuff. So CNN's kind of involved.
Okay.
In that regard, I've seen a very little bit of the first episode.
Okay.
I mainly watched the 3-minute catch-up from the previous season.
Why
Because
did-
I saw the previous season, but I've completely forgotten.
So
it's
why?
been a long time.
Until that
Yeah.
catch-up.
Yeah.
So why did you not watch the rest? Were you already bored?
No, I wanted to kind of get into... I just kind of wanted to see the first couple scenes to see, like... I didn't actually have time in my day to watch it.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to see the first couple scenes to get an idea of what it looks like, what it wouldn't look like, all the fun stuff. It looks, for those of us who've seen it up till now, it looks like the direction the show is heading anyway. Because no huge spoilers, because they I think they're showing it to you in the ads, which she's president.
Yeah.
She's president, and Frank Underwood would have been president. So like,
But he's out.
like how that happens, they were already headed to that anyway.
Well, Rick Hong is a super fan of the show.
Yes.
And he'll be back next week to talk
For
all
sure.
about the show for sure.
Yeah, but I know you guys, you love House of Cards, so we of course had to make a little mention. But as far as what we saw, Ashley wanted to go ahead and get a head start on the holiday season.
That's right.
With something. Tell us what you saw, Ashley.
Well, you guys, I want to take you back to my kitchen, which is where it all began.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Yes, you see, a jar of pumpkin spice seasoning fell off of my counter, and I reminded myself that it's November 1st, and it's time to start everything Christmas. All Christmas spices, all Christmas drinks, all Christmas everything. This is coming from a half Jewish, half Catholic girl. It is time.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yes, little known facts about Ashley. So I'm like, okay, I'm in the mood. I'm going to do some Christmas baking. I'm going to put on a Christmas movie. Netflix, you got me covered. They released their first Netflix original Christmas programming of the year called The Holiday Calendar. And I am so sad to report that it was...
Oh no.
Oh, no.
I wanted to so bad, you guys. I mean, and I left it on for background noise and everything, and it was one of those things where when it was on, I was like, ugh, ugh. Like, it was so
Why?
annoying.
Why?
And I read some reviews online, too, and people were calling it aggressively bland.
That's
Like, that's an epic description. Aggressively bland. So I loved that. Aggressively bland. And it was definitely that. I mean,
I don't know
like,
how one could possibly... I don't know how one could possibly set out to achieve that.
Well, I
Like,
think
that's something
they
you only...
did.
That's something you
that's
only land
beautiful.
at. You don't...
Here's the thing. You go into a movie like something called the Holiday Calendar, which, by the way, is in fact about a magical advent calendar. For an adult. This is for an adult,
Go
not
on.
a child.
I mean, some adults do like their advent calendars if they
Sure.
have like, something more exciting than like,
Yes. Magic
than
happens,
candy. I don't know.
miracles. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets there. Like I buy into the crap, right?
Yeah,
So I go
me
in
too.
knowing like I'm getting into some
Ashley.
cheese.
You and I need to start selling a 90-day advent calendar.
Yes.
October 1st.
I do want to mention quickly
Okay.
though that the holiday calendar, take it for what it is. The star was Kat Graham. She was sweet and cute. It was fine. But what was really interesting, there was a cameo, kind of supporting character by Ron Cephas from This Is Us. Yeah, and even him, I was like, bro. Come on. And I tried real hard, guys, but this is a pass. This is a hard pass for me.
So maybe you should wait just
Yeah.
a little bit.
Keep on
until-
hanging on until more Christmas titles drop.
Yeah, there you go. But I do have one that I saw that was actually really informative, and I do recommend. So it's called Ask the Doctor. I saw one episode, and it's 12 episodes ranging from 26 to 29 minutes. And there are three main people that, like, they talk you through all these different things that you would ask a doctor or ask the doctor. And I saw one about jeans. And so, like, not the ones you wear, but the ones that are, like, inside of you. Like,
Yes.
And it was really interesting. It was basically this one guy, he's thinking about getting genetic testing, kind of, but, like, to see his genetic code. And if he got that, then that would kind of, like, change his life and then his family's life, because if he has a genetic, like, thing that's like flipped or something, then it really changes things, because then if he has kids, then it's like, whoa, what is going on? So this was actually a really hit close to home, because I'm thinking of doing 23andMe, which you can pay like $200, which to me is like, that's a lot. But then you get, like your ancestry history, but also like your medical history. So like what you're predisposed to. So I was very interested in this. It is very informative. There's other episodes about sleep, alcohol, and how it affects you, and it's not boring, especially because it's super short, very easy watch, very informative. The guy ends up getting the test done, and he finds out that he's okay. Like, he's not gonna have like some genetic mutation is the word.
Also, another thing on Netflix, Explained by Vox. They
Yeah,
did a whole
yeah.
episode about, I believe they called it designer jeans or designer babies.
Oh, whoa.
Because that's a
yeah.
huge
Yeah.
issue in the ether right now.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we're like a good 10 years away from that actually being a thing. But things like 23andMe, which as a libertarian, I'm not a huge fan of, just spit in a cup so they can have your DNA in a giant database.
That's what my best friend said in Texas. She was like, I don't like the idea. I'm like, but if I already know I have like an intense family history, so I kind of want to know, so I know to like be one step ahead of it.
I want to know my genealogy. I don't actually care about my genes. Like, I want to get an Ancestry.com account and track like who came in from what ship.
Ancestry.com links in automatically with 23andme.com.
But they don't know.
Super easy.
But I can't spit in a thing, and they're not going to tell me if my great grandfather came in on a ship from
But they
Bremen,
could.
and
You
then
could
like
spit in your
but
23andme thing, and then you import it links up.
But
with
it only
Ancestry.com.
tells me what percent of that nationality I am. It doesn't actually link to my genealogy, like the actual family tree. I still have to do that work myself.
Well, this show talks about obesity, and like I said, sleep, alcohol. It touches on a lot of things, 12 different topics. I highly recommend it if you're slightly curious about anything related to something you would ask the doctor.
Is it gonna
And
make
we
me
are
think
not
I
a
have-
sponsor for 23andMe. Just wanted to add that. No, we are not a sponsor, but I'm interested.
They wind up on a lot of podcasts. I think it is worth noting that they have not paid for a
they're
live
not-
read.
Nope. Yeah.
Is it one of those things that it's gonna like make myself convinced that I have cancer
No,
from watching?
No, not when you're
Okay.
watching. You're like, just makes you want to have that open conversation with your family of like, hey, like, what kind of genes do I have? Like, what about, my great grandfather? Did they have whatever? I don't know. But it was very interesting, and yeah, I highly do recommend it. But Ashley, I also recommend that you do share some valuable information with our listeners and viewers.
I do have some valuable information, my friends. My AfterBuzz family and friends, as you know, our network produces after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There is really no network that works harder to serve our television fans. But now we need your help. So we are asking you to please subscribe to one or more, we have a lot, of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our main channel, the one you're watching here right now, the AfterBuzz main channel. YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. Win-win, folks, win-win. And if you're worried about those pesky notifications, don't be. They are totally optional. So hit that subscribe button. We are waiting. That was a good sound. We heard you hit it. And check out all of our other AfterBuzz channels too while you're out there. And make sure you let us know that you did so in the comments, and we'll say hi to you right now. Hi.
Hi.
And we'll shout you out on air as well. But for now, thank you so much for helping us to be the ESPN of TV Talk and for being the best fans out there. We love you.
Yeah, and you guys were fantastic in the chat last week. It was blowing up. So I did leave a comment below in our last episode or last show. So make sure you look at that if you haven't yet. So moving on to non-Netflix releases. Steve, you saw a movie. Children of Men.
Yes.
You saw? It was cool.
I have seen Children of Men many a time.
Yeah.
The theme of the two films I'm going to speak of today is British.
Okay.
Tomorrow
Then please
being-
do it in a British accent.
Please.
I could. I think
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
I think you guys would be all
Sorry.
right. It would be all right, but like, no, a British.
That's good enough. You won us over. Carry on.
Anyway, but tomorrow being November 5th, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that with my next film. I think I have a sweet spot for specifically dystopian British British action films. So Children of Men, it's the year 2027.
Whoa. That's
And-
actually close.
England is the only functioning government.
Yeah.
They have draconian laws. And the reason they're the only functioning government, and it's like kind of sort of the end of humanity, is that for the past like 2 lifetimes, by the time we're following the movie, no one has been able to get pregnant.
Oh,
Is this
yeah.
Handmaid's Tale?
No.
It was before
Well, but-
Handmaid's Tale.
Well, it was way the book Handmaid's Tale predates this, but the movie itself is a very unique look at what it is, and like what I like about this film is it never gets into the nuts and bolts of like why can't people have it. It's like we don't know, and they made it an allegory more for how other countries treat refugees. But because England was the only actual surviving government, they had to take on a very hard line stance on refugees of like how an immigrant comes into the country, if an immigrant comes into the country, and like everywhere else outside of England is just a war zone or like a literal nuclear wasteland. And we follow Clive Owen, who's we follow Clive Owen, who is just a regular guy in this world, really sad. The morning we follow him on, I think his name was like Baby Huey or Baby something, like the youngest person in the world died, and it was front page news.
Yeah.
That he was like 12 years old, and like he died, someone killed him, and then like he's just gripping with all of this, and then he kind of goes into the underworld, and spoilers, he finds a baby.
Yeah, this is the one with
it's way like he joins a resistance, and the resistance finds a
Star
baby,
Wars.
but
No, just kidding.
the resistance finds a baby, but the baby is from a refugee, and they don't trust the government.
It's a lot to unpack there, Steve
But-
Stockman.
Yeah.
But they don't trust the government with that information for fear that they'll take the baby from the refugee and then claim the
What
baby
year is
is
this movie from?
2006.
Oh, okay.
So is this the
Alfonso
one?
Cuarón directed. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Julianne Moore is in it too.
Julianne Moore. Michael Caine is in it.
Yes. This movie is insane, but also like you should see it even if you are slightly scared. It's okay.
It's an action
It's
movie.
okay.
It is very much an action movie.
It's an action movie. But there's this one scene that is absolutely amazing. It's just a one shot that
Yes.
you just for that, you just gotta watch it.
Okay.
It is so good. It is terrifying. I think it's a different
I like Clive Owen and Julianne Moore. So.
yeah.
Yes.
It's a different like take also on like the Handmaid's Tale kind of esque.
Also, a very young Chiwetel Ejiofor that I did not.
Oh my gosh.
I did not know.
Yes.
I did not realize until just this moment that that is Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah.
Good work.
But in keeping with things that maybe Ashley would not be a huge fan of, The Shining, I saw it. This was my second time seeing it. I know we had someone in the chat, kind of point out like, hey, it's still October. It was October then when I saw it. So we should have watched more horror movies, which I did. So The Shining.
You posted
actually,
this on your Instagram story, and I was like, Amy, don't do it.
I did though, and I knew what I was getting myself into. Last time I saw it, I remember kind of getting sleepy at the end. weekend. So I watched the whole thing.
You got tired at the end of a horror movie? Who are you?
It's really
I
long.
mean-
It's 2 hours, 26 minutes. So by the end, you're like, someone's going to die. I'm really tired. But
Although
yeah.
The Shining
So-
isn't like a typical jump scare horror film
Yeah.
either. Like it's very psychological.
Trippy. Yes.
I've seen the pieces of that movie that need to be seen.
Well, maybe. I don't know. So it is directed by Stanley Kubrick, of course. Jack Nicholson's in it. Shelley Duvall is in it. Danny Lloyd is the little boy who plays Danny. Yes, from 1980. Really good. If you still want to feel spooked kind of and are not ready to jump into Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa.
Which makes no sense, everybody.
I mean, guys, it's okay.
Dive in. It's
or,
happening.
you know, if you don't want to skip into Thanksgiving just yet, watch The Shining. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So what else can people do, Steve, if they're listening to us
If
right
you're
now?
hearing my voice in any way, you find the platform that you're on, and then you like us in some way. I believe there is a like function outside of the review function in iTunes. You should do that. You
Like
should
us, love
also
us.
review us.
Yeah.
Give us 5 stars. All the other stars are useless. Don't bother with those. We're a 5-star podcast. If you disagree, then don't
just give
keep
us
listening.
5.
Just don't give us your don't even do that. Stitcher, iCloud, SoundCloud,
Spotify.
Sound iCloud. We are on Spotify. That is a real thing.
Isn't that exciting?
There's a like function on Spotify. There's all the stuff. You can do that to help us. And leave us reviews. We'll talk about the reviews. Also, Star Drew in the chat. Very active in the chat.
Hey, Star Drew, what's up?
What's up? Yeah.
Specifically,
What else we got in the chat? What are they talking about?
I know I'm scared.
it's Star Drew. Sam Pilboom wants to know if we're covering House of Cards. I'm sure we are.
Next week we are covering House of Cards, and our channel is covering the AfterBuzz channel is covering House of Cards
After
for
show.
sure.
Star Drew wanted to know if it's not the time to watch The Grinch this weekend. I think it is.
Oh my God, totally the time to watch The Grinch.
This
Thank
is
you.
absolutely Grinch Red Cup season.
100%. Did anybody else chime in about holiday stuff? I'd like to know who's on my team.
Not particularly. But their silence means they are on our team.
I take it.
The
I'll take it.
silence, I think, means it's time to wait for some more.
If you have
Holiday.
dissent,
Just
if you
wait a
have
little.
dissent to the
Just
holiday
wait a little.
season talk, you must voice it in the next 30 seconds.
Come on,
Oh,
team
I don't
holiday.
hear anything. Okay, let's move on. Well, actually, we should move on to hidden gems and revisited things that we've seen. So let's start first with Ashley Gaga, 5'2".
That's right. Yes, Gaga 5'2", and Amy, I'm excited to talk about this
Me too.
because I know you saw this
Yes,
movie,
yes.
this documentary,
Yes.
long time ago.
Yes.
And then I know that you've also seen A Star Is Born.
Yes.
Which I'm sure that many people in the ether out there have seen this movie as well. Steve, have you?
That movie messed me up.
Okay, so we've all seen it.
Yeah.
I have some controversial opinions on that film. I'm going to reserve them because this is really about the movie Gaga 5'2",
Yes.
documentary, which is now on Netflix. Great time to watch it. Here's my suggestion.
Okay.
If you have seen A Star Is Born, definitely go watch the documentary. If you haven't seen A Star Is Born, out in theaters right now, and you're thinking about it, wait to watch Gaga 5'2" until after you see A Star Is Born, because I think it spoils it a bit. I think it ruins it. After having watched A Star Is Born,
Okay.
and by the way, within the first 3 minutes of Gaga 5'2", she opens with saying, "So Bradley Cooper just called me. Warner Brothers greenlit a film called A Star Is Born, and I'm going to star in the movie." So I was like, and when I walked out of the movie A Star Is Born going, God, it feels like they pulled a lot from this documentary. Like I feel like they're pulling from a lot of this documentary for inspiration.
What?
And then I'm like, I want to see this again. I went back within the first 3 minutes. She's like, so Bradley Cooper called. So there's a lot of tie-ins, but I do recommend that if you're going to go see A Star Is Born, wait. Because also, like, I really love Gaga's music, and that was like a lot of Gaga.
Which one? 5'2"?
Gaga 5'2". That was like 5 foot too much Gaga.
That's fair. How
that
long is
hurt
it?
my soul. But
It's
continue.
an hour and 40 minutes, and it felt like a lot longer.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, Gaga, how'd you let that movie get made? Because it's not shining a good light. Like, she was such a diva.
Oh my God. No.
Holy diva. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm glad you watched it. And I'm glad that you have your own opinions about
That's sweet, but
I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm gonna let you finish, but what? Yeah, that movie was the first look, obviously, that we've seen into her life, and I looked at her so much, like, with a different light, and I think she's amazing. I think that her showing us how vulnerable she is and how, like, she goes through so much crap physically. Like,
Girl, I had the same damn hip surgery
Girl.
as her. Like, she can...
Twins.
Come on.
Hello.
I
Did you
know.
connect with her on that at some level?
I mean, yes, because there's, especially until you have it diagnosed, you're like, why am I in pain all the time? It's
Yeah.
so frustrating, and I get that. And I can't imagine, like, we cannot imagine being pops. We just can't put ourselves in a pop star's shoes as much
Yeah.
as we would try. I
Yeah.
cannot imagine the amount of fame and pressure that she has on her.
Yeah.
But I was also like, kind of a little whiny. Like, you're doing all right. Lock it up, girl.
Well,
Lock it up.
My understanding,
But she's incredibly talented, and I
Like,
love her.
well, my understanding of Lady Gaga has always been that she's an incredibly talented person in a business that doesn't actually care that you're incredibly talented.
Yeah.
That she has to be Lady Gaga. She has to be a pop star Marilyn Manson. To a certain extent, she has to shock and she has to awe. Just being talented isn't enough. That's always what I've taken from the story of Lady Gaga.
That's funny that you say that, because there's certainly a parallel to that within A Star Is Born. And I felt like that was my biggest critique of the movie. This is not a spoiler, so don't worry if you haven't seen it. But I felt like the biggest arc for her in that movie, for her character, was that, like, she didn't feel pretty enough. And it's like, that was it. That was the only thing that was her only challenge. I don't feel pretty enough.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
hey, we can
it's
keep
definitely
talking
worth
about
watching.
I
this.
think that was a
Yeah.
trigger for the character, but we'll move on.
I freaking loved it, but I'm glad you saw it again.
Yes.
So
it was,
you
no,
guys,
it was fine. It was
yeah.
too much Gaga, but it was fine.
No, I don't think so. But Steve, you saw something called
V for Vendetta. Now, I will admit, I have not seen this film this year. However, this is my favorite film of all time. It's up there.
Wow.
It's neck and neck with Casablanca. I watch it every year on November the 5th. November the 5th is tomorrow. V for Vendetta is based on a graphic novel that's by Vertigo, which is kind of sort of DC Comics.
Oh,
And this film is from
okay.
2005. It is Natalie Portman, Hugo Weaving. If you don't know who Hugo Weaving is, think Agent Smith from The Matrix. Think the voice of Optimus Prime from Transformers. Think the lead elf in Lord of the Rings. I don't know Lord of the Rings that well.
I thought you were gonna say
Think,
Elf.
think Red Skull from Captain America.
Okay.
So
Amy's in.
pretty much
Okay.
the guy who gets to do all the cool stuff in science and sci-fi pop culture. He is V. This was written by the Wachowski siblings and directed by James McTeague. It is every year around this time I want to watch it on the 5th. And sorry, to tell you what the film is about, it is about a gentleman who's wearing a Guy Fawkes mask,
Okay.
going around, and he blows up a building on November 5th.
Is Guy Fawkes Day November 5th?
Yes.
Okay.
Guy Fawkes Night is November 5th, and he wears a Guy Fawkes mask and blows up not Parliament on the first try. And then he tells, and it's a dystopian British government. You're seeing my themes.
Whoa.
It's a dystopian British government. He goes and blows up a building, but then runs into the Natalie Portman character, because Natalie Portman's also in this, guys. This film
Yeah.
is wonderful. This film is wonderful.
Also known as the time Natalie Portman shaved her head bald.
That is true.
Or
That it-
buzz
like-
cut. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it's by far, just far and away, like
And still looked pretty.
the kind of depth for a comic book movie, which this was the first time I think I had seen a movie that wasn't just like the X-Men. Like, I learned that, like, no, a comic book movie can actually have depth. They don't have to further an intellectual property or this or that. It's a graphic novel that you can buy in one hardback that they never made any more of. And it was the graphic novel was made by Roger Moore. I'm pretty sure Roger Moore. Yes, Roger Moore, who also did The Watchmen and Sandman and a bunch of stuff that he refuses to put his name on when they make
So,
movies of it.
Worth a revisit, most especially around Election Day.
Well, yes.
Election Day.
Election Day, yes.
Tuesday.
But it's a dystopian future where there's an authoritarian 1985-like government reigning over a London that a UK that I'm pretty sure is also the only thing left standing again.
Okay.
There's a very common theme among these two films.
So you're challenging people to watch V for Vendetta tomorrow,
Yes.
the 5th of November.
Remember.
Let us know in the comments down below.
Remember the 5th of November. And
There we
if
go.
you like my insights on this film, I'll dig up the link. Years upon years ago on Popcorn Talk, sorry. That is, don't use
Popcorn Time is another podcast. that
Popcorn Time
Steve
is.
produces out of his
Oh no,
basement.
that's another thing completely. Popcorn Talk, our sister network here. I did a watch along on November 5th. I believe it was at least 3, if not 4 years ago.
Oh.
So I'll dig up that link and tweet it tomorrow, so you can watch it along with me from years upon years ago.
That would be cool.
But that's cool.
Yeah.
It exists for you. We did a watch along. You just push play when I push play, and then we'll be able to watch the whole movie together.
You know what you can also watch together, I guess, with us if you are watching things on Netflix. Jeopardy! What? Thank you for that. Who is Alex Trebek? I don't know. Yeah, it's actually really cool. They have 2, I guess, like seasons of it. It's Tournament of Champions and Battle of the Decades. There are 45 episodes on Netflix right now. Each one is 19 to 20 minutes. And it's great because every single time that they're like, we'll be right back after this. Nope, bam, there you are again.
So
and
is
it's
it
great.
from like old? Like, is it old trivia?
It's not old. No, it feels actually pretty new. It feels like they took it from what you can see on cable right now and then just kind of transferred it here. And I freaking loved it. I've seen like maybe 6 episodes. It's great.
I know a while ago Crackle kind of hung their hat on a deal. They made a deal to have all the Seinfeld episodes on Crackle, and then they were also you could see every Jeopardy ever. And I'm like, I don't know if there's actually a market.
Cool.
I don't know if there's a market for every Jeopardy ever.
I don't know.
I think
You're
something.
saying
I
right
think
now.
something like
Stop
this,
it.
where you just kind of curate 40 at a time, I think is more or less how we
love
take
it.
it.
I think people are going to burn through those Jeopardy episodes.
Very quickly.
I actually, because I used to watch this when I was a kid, and I'd get home from school, and so it was just the same kind of thing, except
Totally
I knew
nostalgia. Mhm.
Yeah, I knew more of the questions. I knew the answers. So yes, there's a lot to watch, but also there's a lot to look forward to as we dive into Netflix news. Okay, so yay. Okay, Glow season 3.
Yes.
They have started training.
Yes.
So that's pretty exciting.
Amazing.
Next, BoJack Horseman season 6. It's happening.
I'm excited.
Right.
Very excited. I have a lot. I actually scrolling through my Facebook feed. I've only recently learned how many friends I have that work on this show.
Hey.
So I'm really excited for them to keep working on what is one of the better written. Definitely, like it's up there with Rick and Morty. It's one of the better animated
Rick.
comedies on television currently. Like especially
Bam.
one of the best written ones.
Yeah, bold statement right there.
Come at me.
So next, Netflix codes. This is something that's kind of like going around the interwebs. Basically, you sign into Netflix on your browser and you type in this whole big thing. And at the end, you type in a series of numbers, and each one pertains to a certain like category of something. So food and travel has a certain number, rom-coms has a certain number, baseball has a certain number. If you guys are interested in that, we'll go ahead and put that link down below so you guys can check it out. We tried a little bit of it, and it kind of sort of works. So basically, you put in like, let's say if you want to watch baseball movies, right?
Actually, what we didn't do is just tried typing in baseball movies because it
well,
didn't.
I mean, I'm sure that would work.
Well, because what we were trying to replicate is the article we read was if you're on your computer, you could go to this link but change these digits for this digit, and it'll take you directly there if you're signed into Netflix.
Yeah.
Most people don't watch Netflix on their physical laptop.
I don't know about that. Feel a lot of people do if they're, traveling. Sure.
Fair. I personally pull it up on my phone and then Chromecast it to the TV. Maybe I'm
fancy
weird.
pants.
I'm a bit of a fancy pants about that. So what we were trying to replicate is just through the regular search bar. And if you put the numbers as they're described in that article through the regular search bar, it does not work.
Sometimes it kind of does.
Why would
Almost
one
kinda
use a
sorta
code
works. versus just typing
searching?
in. Yeah.
Because it might show you like a more accurate list of everything. So let us know if it works for you. It would be interesting to see if it does.
Yeah,
Completely.
I'd love to see like how they refine that. It sounds really interesting. Sounds
Yeah.
like, I mean, they're gonna have a huge library to catalog. What a great way to like start organizing.
Yeah, because
all their
sometimes
content.
you don't always see everything that they have
Also
with
get
that
it.
category.
Also get it together. Netflix search. I type in baseball movies, 42, Trouble with the Curve, and then Thunderstock, which is a basketball movie. Come on, y'all.
Ball. It has ball.
That's
well,
read all my words.
so moving on to upcoming releases for this coming week. Number 1, The Great British Baking Show Collection 6.
Yes, the Great British Baking Show. I'm a little bit love torn here because I love the original 4 seasons of the Great British Baking Show. Here in the States, it's called the Great British Bake Off, but it's originally called the Great British Baking Show. As anybody who follows that show knows, they have released all of their judges except for Paul Hollywood. So when Mary Berry left the show, so did I. Sorry. I just loved her. She looks a lot like the Julie Andrews, like Mary Poppins and the Queen from Princess Diaries. Julie Andrews. So she's a tough one to lose for me, but it'll be a great show either way for people that still like him.
And number 2, we have Medal of Honor. So it comes out November 9th, and it's a docudrama series honoring service members, so just in time for Veterans Day, which is just a few days after that. And lastly, West Side, which also comes out on November 9th. This one actually seems really interesting. It's about 9 struggling musicians, and it's a reality series, and they're just, working hard to stage a Hollywood showcase. So if you're into that kind of stuff, make sure you watch it. And if you guys are watching something else, let us know what you are watching. If you saw something and you didn't like it, let us know too, because we help all of us around
This is a
each other.
collective.
We're here to help each other. Friends help
Netflix Picks
friends.
is a collective effort.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for joining us for Netflix Picks. Ashley, where can everyone find you on social media?
Guys, if you want to talk about what you're watching on Netflix or what you're cooking in your kitchen or eating out in the world, find me online at Ashley on Camera across all social media, and let's talk there.
And I'm Steve Kaufman. You can find me on Twitter almost exclusively at Steve Kaufman. That is KAUFMANN. I do a lot of cool stuff, including stuff here at AfterBuzz TV, and I tweet about it all the time.
Yeah. I also tweet and I do social media posts on all of my social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Merry almost Christmas.
Oh my gosh, no.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.